I went to a garden party to reminisce with my old friends. A chance to share old memories and play our songs again. When I got to the garden party.
All right, 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Beautiful looking Tuesday, and there's that song. And that means Carolyn Bolden is in the studio, ready to answer your questions about your lawns, your gardens. And good morning, Carolyn. How you doing?
Good morning, Larry. I'm doing well. How about you?
The show is brought to you in part by
Black Cow Cow Manure.
Black Cow Cow Manure. And, of course, the phone number to call Carolyn is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. That's 622-WOCA.
It is. And it's a gorgeous day out there. It's already getting a little warm.
Beautiful.
It's getting a little warm already, but they were saying here that, by the end of the week, we were supposed to have some heat indices of 90 or 90 or better, 100 degrees.
Not bad. Oh, 100 is bad.
Yeah.
90 is not so bad.
90 is a little warm, but it's
not too bad.
If you're out in it, just take it easy. Get up early, get the stuff done, then you can go in the house and have iced tea later.
Somebody left on my desk, and I think it was Dave Taylor. Like this Indian legend with 3 packages of seeds.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, and it's got corn, squash, and
beans.
And beans.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're supposed to. They're like the 3 sisters.
The 3 sisters.
Okay.
That's right.
And you're supposed to plant them a certain way.
I don't remember how it goes, but you plant them in a certain way. It's the elder sister, and then the middle sister, the younger sister, and they support each other as they grow.
So I'm going to do this.
Okay.
I'm going to try it. I'm going to do a video of trying to grow these seeds.
Trying to do these.
Do I put them in complete sunlight, or do I give them... Okay. Now, it says when the corn is 4 inches tall, then you plant the beans, and then I can't remember when you plant the squash.
And then when the beans come up, you probably plant the squash right after.
But it said that they protect the squash has thorns, and
it's kind of squash is kind of rough and pokey, and the corn grows up nice and straight. The beans will grow and they'll climb the corn.
Okay.
So the corn will support the beans. And then the squash will shade the ground, conserving water and blocking out weeds.
Oh, okay. So the question I have about that is this: I have so many questions about this. Is this the way the Indians actually did this?
I wasn't there,
okay, all right.
So I'm not sure. They probably did in a way, because again, planting the corn with the beans works in conjunction of one holding the other one up, because the bush bean is the product of hybridization, of making them smaller, where you can fit more plants, and you don't have to have a.
Well, I was trying to figure out. See if I can explain this. Did they have one corn, like a little bit of corn, a little bit of beans, and a little bit of squash, and lots of little ones, or did they have let's say an acre, where the middle of the acre was all corn, and then around that was all beans, and then around all that was
the squash? Yeah. I'm not real sure if they may have even just intermingled them in between sections. Like here's a couple of rows of corn, and planted in there is the beans, and then planted on, like you say, the outer edges of it may have been the squash.
If I had the patience to do this, I would do time-lapse photography, but I don't have that patience.
I don't have that patience.
But I don't mind waiting and taking little footage here. Right. And a few days later, some more footage.
Right. When they sprout up, here they come.
So now I'm going to do something that you do all the time. So this is nothing new to you.
You're going to learn about it.
Well, I did this when I was a kid, not this exact thing, but I remember planting seeds and watching them grow, and then they die.
You're supposed to get a harvest out of them. You do still have to feed them, water them, and tend to them.
Yeah.
They don't do it all by themselves.
So, are there any municipal laws about, the city? Does the city allow you to plant corn, on the...
Yeah, in your yard.
By the sidewalk? Okay, in your yard?
In your yard, yeah. You can't plant it out in the median unless you own the median, and even then, there's certain regulations on height and things like that. Yeah.
By the way, there's a huge movement about this whole Monsanto thing, huh? Is Monsanto unfairly being targeted, do you think? Don't we credit them for something good? Or do we just demonize them completely?
I think they're just the demon. They're the one. There are probably other companies also. It's just Monsanto is one everyone knows. It's the one that everybody has loved to hate.
But didn't they give us something
They give us Roundup.
But before that, I can remember going to
and even then, Roundup, everybody hated Roundup initially.
Really? I can remember going to Epcot. And while you're waiting in line for whatever ride it is, there's this big Monsanto presentation. Right? Just
well, that's because of the seed modifications and things like that, and hybridization. They are one of the. They are a large. I don't know if they themselves are the producer or they are the owners of many companies that produce seed.
So do you like them or hate them?
Things. Not probably my favorite.
Well, you don't
not
like
with
them. Okay.
Not with the genetically modified. Not when there's too many questions on that have not been answered.
So then I'm on your side. I just wanted to hear from an expert. How do I feel on this one?
They're not my favorite people. I've not read really to sit down and read enough. I do not want genetically modified organisms, because we don't know enough. That's not saying a hybrid plant. A hybrid plant from an active cross-pollination where you're getting a plant that's resistant to disease. But when you splice in genes to where it is now immune to the effects of herbicides, that worries me. On that, or that they have bred in the Bacillus thuringiensis gene so that any caterpillar that tries to feed upon it will die. That to me, we don't know far enough. We don't know enough about that to know what's going to happen 25, 30 years down the road. And we already do have an issue, maybe not in the homeowner garden, but in other areas where they are using a lot of Roundup, or they have used this, the weeds are becoming immune to it. So what good is that? Okay, you can spray it over top of it, but if it's not going to kill the weed, you've kind of defeated your purpose there. And maybe they just need to change and learn a little more on, or do a little more research on maybe better practices of planting. We're always improving on that. We're finding out nowadays hydroponic and greenhouse growing, they can grow more per acre in that way than you can in a field grown. But trying to grow corn and such like that into a field grown in a greenhouse is probably not going to be real effective. But they've also the concern with you hear the wheat belly book and this and that the wheat that we're consuming now is not the same thing as that our great grandparents had. I don't know if there's a whole I've not read the book and then gone back and researched their science. That's a lot to do. So you almost have to take what they say as truth. They've done the research, but then again, too, our great grandparents didn't eat the processed foods we eat.
In general,
yeah, they didn't eat. They ate home baked bread maybe 3 times a day, but it had no preservatives in it. They didn't get the box of Betty Crocker instant potatoes that were dehydrated, and you read the ingredients on some of these things, and it's not just potatoes. There's preservatives and things like that these things had to go through in order to become that box, with the cheese powdered, and things like that. I think it's more a matter of what else are we putting in our own bodies? Americans are the ones with the big issues, not places around the world, and yet we export our wheat and our other grains around the world. Whether or not it's in ready-made, usually as the grain itself, and then it's converted either into feed for other for livestock or into food for human consumption. So it's I know most foreign countries, most European countries do not want the genetically modified growing in their nations. They don't want it imported in. And I think that's where Monsanto and our government and other farmers need to pay attention and go, wait a minute, maybe this isn't a good idea. Put this.
Well, and I don't know, like you're saying. I mean, just read little tidbits here and there. But there was one study that was quoted. Now, whether it was legit, who knows? But they were saying that the farm animals that were eating some of these genetically modified organisms, the food, were having shrunk, smaller organs, like their organs
were being
their
affected,
internal organs were being,
and that. Yeah, and it can be, and they have found out too that on some of these fields that are treated, and then the not the grain, but the hay and things like that are harvested, or the animals are grazed upon it, the manure that is the residual of that can be contaminated, that when you then have it in a compost pile and you go and spread it upon your garden, next thing you know, nothing in your garden's growing because it still has the residual of the herbicide that was sprayed on that field. And you're talking months afterwards, because it is passing through the digestive system of the animal, of the cow, coming out the other end, and it goes into the compost pile, and that chemical is still there.
Yeah, that's not good.
And so, I've had a couple of people who have had that as a problem in their home gardens.
And you know what? And I don't know that this is connected, but there was a story this morning that 2 butterflies are now declared extinct that used to live here in Florida.
There's one, probably one of the ones from down in Miami.
They were in South Florida, yeah. And I was like, wow, I wonder why. I mean, what's going on? So,
well, again, the use of pesticides, habitat destruction, and people, it's trying to bring in not necessarily exotics, but changing what's going on, and storms that that devastate areas, and again, the use of pesticides. I have at times told people when they're either looking at a passion vine or milkweed or some type of plant that becomes a larval food for butterfly populations, that these will be consumed. And not to worry about it. Your plant will recover and still bloom for you and still be nice. And they'll look at me and go, well, what can I spray? And don't buy the plant if that's going to be your reaction. Is what can I kill them with? No, this is if you're planting this, you need to realize this is what's going to happen. Don't plant it if you don't want that to happen. Leave it in somebody else's landscape.
By the way, does the use of mothballs in a garden, let's see, what was the
repel
bugs or anything? I mean, or does it serve a good purpose? Not
really. I mean, maybe in a flower bed. I would not put them in a vegetable garden because the ingredients in mothballs are actually, read the label, they're toxic. And so when they break down, you don't know whether or not they'll be absorbed by the plant. Mothballs are meant to be used in enclosed things, in a trunk, in a closet, not where those vapors are going to be out and breathed by people. So they may help repel rodents out of areas and things like that. Pests, I'm not so sure on insects, because it may mask or camouflage the scent of the plant somewhat, depending on the mode of transportation that insect comes in. If it's a flyer and comes in and lands on top of the plant, it may never smell the mothball. But if it crawls in, it may. But yeah, when you read the label on some things, it's they're actually kind of toxic.
So getting back to my little legend that I got. Okay, so if I do this little thing, there's only 3 little packets of seeds.
The 3 sisters, right.
If I do this, now obviously I'm just doing it for the fun of it.
Right.
Is it a bad time? Like being June 11th?
I would probably actually wait till August. About the middle to the end of August is probably going to get you better success, because you can plant corn again at that time, beans and squash again.
Really? Yeah. So it
may be a little too hot. It's coming into a time where the night times are just going to be too hot. I know everybody says, well, August is hotter than June.
Yeah, right.
But when you plant in the middle of August, come the middle of September, those nighttime temperatures are actually a little cooler than what they'll be in July.
Start to notice it, yeah.
And so that's where that'll come in. But
I'm so impatient.
You may have to write it on the calendar. We'll start at the middle of August.
So impatient.
So that gives you 2 months? You only have to wait 2 months.
So Robin had this theory that if I cut the palms away and gave the yellow rose bush more sunlight, that it would grow better.
It probably would.
And it is.
Yeah.
I cut them like a week or so ago.
Right,
so.
and they're probably already starting to put out some new growth
Isn't it
on
amazing?
them. Yeah. A little bit of light on sun-loving plants, it's amazing what it'll do. But, yeah.
It's amazing how important light is to life.
It is. And actually, just speaking of that, of removing the shade from a plant that probably when they were planted, it was plenty. The palm tree wasn't big enough, or it had not come up yet, had plenty of light. So that's when we're planting a garden or a landscape, you got to think of that. What's going to happen in 5 and 10 years? What is the mature size of the plant at the end of 5 or 10 years down the road? If you put it here, if you put it on one side and you're planting something smaller, is that in another 5 years going to now shade that and cause a problem with those that you'll have to move them, or they're
if you go to like a wild area like in the forest, and you see these palm plants,
low scrubby,
yeah. I mean, they look nice, but the one I have in my yard, there's really not a whole lot I can do to make it look nice. I mean,
not unless you planted more of them.
Maybe. And then you have to have a whole yard full of palms.
Well, that, and if you ever notice some of those that they grow up around the pines, you've got those tall, slender pines, and that if you have enough room, that makes a nice natural habitat, natural looking.
For the turtles.
For the
tortoises.
For tortoises, whatever, that's going to be in that area, and it can be attractive. It can be real nice. But no, we were saying about the amount of light and such. I had a fella come up to me yesterday at work, and he had these what were they? Camellias were planted by the landscaper a couple of years ago, and he's got some that are doing wonderfully, the other ones in another location are doing kind of poorly, and trying to figure it out. Well, because the landscaper put them in, he has no idea which ones they were. He doesn't know whether or not they were, and I tried to explain to him, I said, some camellias want strictly filtered light. You don't want to put them out in the sun. Right. And other ones like the sun and are not going to do quite as well if you get them in too much shade. And his ones that are in the shade are not doing well, but his ones in the sun are. And so it was a matter of thinking, you know what, he may have picked them up, got all the sasanquas, and stuck the sasanquas over there in his shady location, and they're just not happy. I told him that the best thing he could do was maybe to talk to his landscaper or whoever it was. Maybe they have a record, or he needs to look back and see if his receipt happened to have mentioned what was planted in. So if you are hiring somebody, or even if you're going to do it yourself and you have a specific plant you're looking to put in a location, do find out. Many plants do have I'll call it a sister, the camellia, a shade one and a sun one. Loropetalum, there's shade varieties and sun varieties. There's also dwarfs and full-size ones, anywhere from dwarfs being just a couple of feet high, a little better than a ground cover, up to full-size 8 to 10 foot shrubs. Just take a look and save those tags. Those tags are great things. We were talking a couple weeks back about using your smartphone or your computer to log on your gardening thing. I'm more of a fan of a notebook with pocket sleeves and even like the business card sleeves, where you can actually tuck those tags that came out of the plant pot
that makes sense to me.
Right in there, and you can write on it the date you planted, what else you did to it when you planted it, and keep that log, that short term that you need, that 60 days of really getting it established of what you did, so you know how well it did. You log in of when it needs to be pruned and everything else, and just becomes
that's the original word processor.
It is that pencil with an eraser on the back end, and
that's the original.
And you don't need any fancy gizmo to make them work or anything. No electricity needed. So when the power's out and you're still playing with it, you can still do.
So do you have any summer plans? Are you going anywhere? Or?
I may take a few days and go fishing sometime this summer. Go fishing? Yeah.
By the way, the lionfish is...
you're allowed to get rid of them. Yeah.
What does this look like, a lionfish?
Oh, they're actually a gorgeous fish.
Really?
You can bring them up on the Florida FWC.
But it looks like a lion?
It's got very... It's striped. They're black and white, actually, but you would think more of a zebra. But they have a lot of... I'm not sure of what the phrase would be.
Oh, wow. We want to get rid of it. I am looking at it now.
Yeah, they're a beautiful fish. They escaped from, I think, the tropical fish industry, but they're voracious eaters, apparently. And, you're allowed to eliminate them.
The news story says, I guess about a year ago, they took off all need for permits.
Right.
And they want to make that permanent.
Right.
You can catch them with, approval. During today's consent agenda would make the rule permanent. Well, that's today, so they're going to decide today.
Right.
Probably so you can get these with catch bags, hand nets, spears, and you don't need any license at all to kill them.
Just don't get. I think that they're actually kind of toxic too.
Would you put that in your fish tank if you could catch it alive?
Apparently, as a tropical, it came out of like the tropical fish industry. And then after
Andrew... How do you find them? I mean, how do you find a certain fish?
They're on the reefs and stuff.
Now, I know this isn't a fishing show, but let me ask you something. I'm not a fisherman, but I have gone fishing. And the typical...
I eat fish for dinner every so often.
I do that, too. But the people will pass by and say, what are you fishing for? I'm fishing for fish. I mean, but some people who really know what they're doing say, no, I'm fishing for fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I'm fishing for lionfish.
Well, you're usually going diving, I think, for those that they'll spear.
You can actually catch a fish when you're diving? Don't they go
I think with a net you
fast?
might be able to, but yeah, I wouldn't try. I don't think you could really catch it.
What about Frankie? Can you get it with him?
I don't know, maybe.
You said you can get it with a net.
With a net, yeah. There you go. That was quick.
The phone number, if you would like to call Carol Ann, so she stops talking to me, is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. Well, anyway, it's a pretty fish. I'm looking at it now.
They are a gorgeous fish. But again, it's another one of those kind of things where we have the problems on land. This is something that is an invasive exotic. And it needs to be controlled or eliminated.
So where does it live naturally where it's not invasive?
I want to say like South America.
I'm guessing that they will never eradicate it.
Oh, probably not, but you may get a little better control out of some of it. The same way where we have the kudzu and things like that. You leave a piece and it's going to keep growing. With that, there's an egg or what. I'm not sure if they're live bearers or whatever. One manages to escape. The Burmese pythons down in the Everglades, that also, is another invasive exotic, again, that can overeat the populations of the native snakes. The Cuban tree frog is another issue
here.
Do you
go snorkeling? You and your husband? Do you go snorkeling?
I have been. It's fun.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been
stuck here too long.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's been a while, and the springs are cold, so I'm a warm water person.
Yeah, but you get used to them right away.
Well, if you get swimming fast enough, you work up a sweat, and you can...
No, you know what? I went snorkeling one time in the Keys with Alex when he was little. Loved it.
Yeah.
Only time I've ever done it, and ever since I've wanted to do it again. Why don't I do things more often?
I don't know. I enjoyed it too. Then in the Keys also, it was John Pennekamp State Park.
That might have been where I was.
Yeah, that's nice little fishing area. I mean, swimming area.
Yeah, I think it was.
Snorkeling area there.
And everybody said, "Oh, you got to get a kayak and go 1 mile out. That's the best place to go snorkeling." We didn't do that,
right?
But
that would have been the reef.
Everybody said to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 1 mile.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem too far.
No, it's not.
And the water never gets deep.
Nope. And it's gorgeous, clear water. But to get back to land,
I know.
Yeah, you gotta either have to swim or something.
But the fish in the land, isn't that what the Indians did? They would bury a fish.
They bury the fish underneath the corn. But that was part of early composting, and put calcium and other nutrition back in. You can buy fish emulsion fertilizers, which they have attempted to deodorize. I won't say it's fully deodorized. It probably now smells like something else. I have made, and some other folks I think we've talked to have made their own fish emulsion kind of fertilizers, and it does
What do you
help
do,
the
put a
plants
fish in a blender?
Actually, when we would come back from fishing, we'd clean all the fish and throw everything in a bucket, and you fill the bucket full of water and put the lid on and let it sit for a while. And then, you strain off the liquid and
it works.
Water the garden. Yeah, you have to watch it for the neighbors start slamming their windows, the buzzards fly overhead, and you don't want to get any on yourself because you can't get far enough away. I accidentally got some on my hand one time, and I was going, "Well, somebody please wash this."
Do you know what happened? Robin's brother has a pond on his land, and the wind turned the water upside down. Did you ever hear this?
Oh.
And the oxygen was at the bottom, the fish were at the top, so the fish started dying.
Fish killed.
Long story short, he went out the next day, and there were so many birds eating his fish that when they flew away because they saw him, it sounded like a helicopter.
Oh.
And then he saw his fish in the trees. The birds
they let go.
They took them up in the trees. They were eating them.
Said fishes in the trees.
Sounds like a Carly Simon song, doesn't it?
Didn't know fish could fly.
All right, let's go to the phone. I think it's your first call of the show, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning, Carolyn and Larry. This is Andrea. I thought I'd call in and get you back on track.
Thank you.
Just joking. Carolyn, I had called you about, I think, 2 weeks ago. I have a problem with my hibiscus. It's beautiful, tall, green, but I am not getting flowers, and I just don't know what to do with it.
And I think we went through that. It's getting enough sun.
Yes.
And that was it setting buds at all?
No, I checked it. Everything's normal.
Okay, it was all normal. Are you using something like Miracle Grow on it?
Actually, I purchased because somebody at the flea market, those people that have nurseries there at the flea market, told me to buy a fertilizer, which the middle number was higher.
Was very high, right?
And that's basically what I did about a week ago.
Okay.
I don't know how long it takes.
It's gonna probably take it a couple weeks for that to start, to work on it. But otherwise, it's good and healthy looking. It's getting plenty of sun. Right now, you don't need to really be watering them. But you're not seeing even any buds trying to set.
Not really. Once in a while, I'm seeing a yellow leaf.
Okay, well that's kind of normal. It happens, one here or there, especially if we get a big rain event like the other, like last week. It does a little. They don't like several days of not having any sun, so they may lose a few leaves. The squirrels will eat the buds, but usually you'll find them torn up underneath. You'll definitely see signs of where the squirrel had been present, but you'll be kind of looking, going, I know there was flowers there or starting to be there the other day. I'd give that fertilizer a chance to work.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like you're doing anything wrong or anything like that. It's everything should be okay. It should be flowering.
It bloomed fine. It did bloom fine last year.
Okay.
This year it just took off, like it grew real big. It's very green, beautiful. I was just excited.
Right.
But
no flowers.
No flowers. Yes.
I would just give it a few more weeks with that fertilizer. It should kick in on it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Keep it up. I love it in the morning on my way to work to hear you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Well, we should take a break, I guess, since we have a moment here. If you'd like to call Carol Ann, get it in now, because we've got 25 minutes left of the show. The number is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. If you call right now, you'll be on hold about 3 minutes. The show is brought to you in part by
Black Cow Manure, the mature manure.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
I'm heading down to Daytona, where it all begins.
Hear that? You could be going down to Daytona for the hottest races this summer.
Where the track is really fast.
the Firecracker 250 on Friday, July 5th, and the Coke Zero 400 Saturday, July 6th. And all you have to do is register for your chance to win at the following locations. Baseline Auto Sales, 2501 Southeast 58th Avenue on Baseline Road. Brick City Health and Fitness in the Pine Plaza on South Pine. And at the home games for the Ocala Stampede played at Trinity Catholic. Each sponsor will have 2 tickets for each race, and the drawings will be held Friday, June 28th. There's no obligation to enter, so you don't need to be present to win. And enter as often as you'd like. You're always a winner with WOCA The Source, and you could be. Hurricane season is upon us. WOCA and Sunbelt Rentals wants you to be prepared. Sunbelt Rentals has the equipment to help, like air nailers, aerial lifts, chainsaws, chippers, and stump grinders. They have light towers, skid steer loaders, and generators, just to name a few. Sometimes you might need a little help cleaning up afterwards. Sunbelt has the equipment you need, like dehumidifiers, pumps, sewer snakes, wet dry vacs, floor dryers, carpet equipment, and more. And right now is the time to get it done, with 2 special offers just for WOCA listeners. If you rent Friday after 3 p.m. and return it Monday before 9 a.m., you will only be charged for 1 day. Plus, just by mentioning WOCA, you get 25% off your rental. You heard right, not 5 or 10, but 25% off your rental just by mentioning that you heard it here on WOCA. But you better hurry. This is a limited time offer. Visit Sunbelt today on Highway 27, just half-mile east of I-75. Give them a call at 369-9101 or visit them on the web, sunbelt.com.
Are you still fertilizing flowers and vegetables the old-fashioned way? Then switch to Dynamite. Dynamite Complete Plant Food. The secret to more flowers, bigger blooms, and more vegetables is consistent feeding. Dynamite Complete Plant Food has a unique protective coating that releases nutrition consistently, so there are no highs and lows. Dynamite is complete nutrition. It contains the micronutrients plants need in small quantities for maximum growth. With Dynamite, you get an explosion of color, flowers, and vegetables. Dynamite comes in a handy shake and feed plastic bottle. Just one application will last up to 6 months. For more flowers, bigger blooms, and more vegetables, try Dynamite today. Visit our website and learn more about the science behind the modern, long-lasting way to feed your flowers and vegetables at DynamitePlantFood.com. Dynamite Complete Plant Food.
As you're driving down the road, you may love your car, you may hate it. But the fact remains that you've got to keep it running to get back and forth to where you need to go. WOCA The Source and Sunrise Automotive are here to help with that. For a limited time, if you mention WOCA, you will receive $10 off an oil change at Sunrise Automotive. That's right, not 10%, $10 off any oil change at Sunrise Automotive. Sunrise Automotive is an ASE certified automotive repair center, so they know how to take care of your car. Located at 1800 Northwest 10th Street. All you have to do is call to schedule your oil change, 690-1993. Mention that you heard this ad on WOCA and get $10 off an oil change. It's just that easy. So now you have 10 more reasons to head down to Sunrise Automotive, 1800 Northwest 10th Street, Ocala. And don't forget to listen to Matt every Monday morning at 10 a.m. for auto repair with personal care. Right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source. Your source for $10 off an oil change.
Hey, I didn't know it rained last night.
Oh, it didn't. Why do you say that?
Because little Johnny's in the backyard playing in that big mud puddle.
Did you leave the hose on?
No, a neighbor borrowed it yesterday.
Wait, is that the side where the septic...
Johnny, get out of there!
Having septic problems? At Mike Scott Plumbing, we can make those septic worries disappear. We can pump your septic tank, repair your drain field, and, if needed, even install a whole new system. At Mike Scott Plumbing, we don't take crap from anyone. We take it from everyone. 237-2888. Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
All right, 20 minutes before 10 o'clock, let's return to Carol Ann Baldwin, and You've Got a Garden. And Carolyn, you've got a phone call.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you for waiting. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Hey, no problem. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank WOCA for returning the full gardening show on Sunday morning.
All right. I didn't know we did that.
It's probably the race was over or something.
Yeah, maybe something changed. I don't know.
Yeah, something changed, and it was lovely hearing about gardening instead of investments, but, what can I say?
Who knows?
So, question question regarding if you have a tree that is about, I don't know, well, it could be, I don't know if age is important to mention, but it was put in a couple of years ago, and then it's like almost like 1 year in its growth cycle, some of the branches died. So there's kind of like, there's a lot of foliage, nice foliage on top, and then kind of like a little bit down, there's a bunch of branches with openings with very little leaves, and then below that, there's a lot of wonderful leaves again. Was that just like a bad year for it for whatever reason, and it caused that? I had that in one of my birch trees.
Hard to say, really. It could just be that couple of branches or so. You see a tree with a limb every so often in a tree where it's just a bad branch. Whether or not something got into that one, it's hard to say physiologically of what went on with it. It's just really kind of hard to say. Usually, if it's a bad year, it's one of those kind of years where they lose their leaves early, or we have an extremely cold or long winter and they don't get their leaves on them until much later in the spring. Insect or pest issues or other weather or climate issues throughout the growing season, just either where it stays too wet, or we're having a drought where it's not getting enough and not getting enough supplemental water, things that are going on, construction around the roots or anything like that. That's but other to just pick out of why a limb or two in the tree died, I really don't know.
Yeah, because there's a whole group of them, in this one stretch, of like 1.5 to 2 feet, where a lot of the branches are dead. And
are they dead, or are they just they have no leaves? It's gone through and they are brittle.
Well, you know what? It's too high up for me to determine that, but there are no leaves on those. A number of branches.
I would probably have those removed if you can get somebody to get up in there and take those bad ones.
Give the squirrel the handsaw, right?
Yeah. Yeah, get the squirrel up there. See if you can train them. Give them something to do. They say they're so smart.
They're so good at all of that.
Yeah, they're so smart. They can climb. Give them a little mini saw in there and get them in there. But no, that would be what I would do, is to prune those off. Properly, go back to the collar, take that off. You don't have to paint them with pruning paint. They found that it's not really necessary.
So then my question is there anything, what's the probability that new branches or that new growth will start in that area, and they'll put out new branches in that area, so you don't have just like this gaping hole just in this.
Well, eventually those other branches and such should just sort of take over the area. You might get some other small branches coming from there. Just make sure you keep like the sturdiest looking ones. Again, it's a pruning kind of thing, that in order to get them to get the right shape.
Right.
But over a period of a year or two, you probably won't really notice a big difference. Once the dead limb is very obvious because it's brown. It's lifeless. You remove that, you don't have that focal point to see. So
these are small. These are small branches. It's not like any
Oh, okay. Right. So then they should. It should recover from that.
Okay.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue.
Throw down some black cow. That'll help, right?
That'll help. Just don't bury it. Just don't bury the tree. I know. Don't change the grade of where your trees and shrubs are planted when you're adding black cow on a annual or twice annual basis.
No, just spruce up by throwing.
Throw a little bit out around there, and if you can work it into the top couple inches, just to where it blends in, it's gonna as it rains, as it gets irrigated, it's gonna feed it at the same time.
You know why I never like to do that? Because then it churns up weed seeds that have been just dying to get some sunlight and start sprouting. So I try not to disturb the mulched areas. I try to disturb them as little as possible because you know how that whole weeding thing is.
Oh well, they're loose in there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, usually in the springtime when you're getting ready, now it's the middle of June now, we're not thinking of this so much. We might think about it again in September, October of putting the fresh mulch down. But in the springtime, I really like to take off the old mulch, throw it in the compost pile or put it in the walkways. Then you can put some more black cow down. You can put some slow-release fertilizer down. You are getting rid of those weed seeds that happen to have been, possibly sitting there all winter long, and throwing fresh mulch down so you haven't changed the grade of how the tree is planted. So you're not getting too much mulch. You're putting the old mulch either, like I said, in the compost bin or along the fence line or in the walkways. And if you have to use a weed killer in the walkways, it doesn't seem to be, to me as offensive as using it around the plants.
Right.
And you can freshen everything up that way. And if you feel like you like to do it again in September, October when it begins to cool down, that way everything's going through the winter. But usually in the fall time, I like to just throw a little extra mulch on top, kind of cleans it up, freshens it up for the winter, and they're set to go.
Yeah. All right, Carolyn, thank you so much, hon.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And another one of those things, and I think I mentioned it last week, and I hope so, because it is 9:45 now, and this starts at 10, so you'd have to be in your car listening to the end of the show in the car on the way over to the Ag Center. If you were, it's a Tuesday gardening series, and this one is installing a micro-irrigation system. It's a hands-on workshop on how to install micro irrigation, and there will be supplies available for purchase. So if you're looking to do this, you're going to be putting in a new bed, you want to go with the micro irrigation. It's really simple to do, and it does save you water, makes it easier to water as well.
And you have another phone call.
Right.
Good morning, you're on the air with Carol Ann.
Hey, Carol Ann.
Hey.
I was just wanting to talk with you again because I asked you about the orange tree fertilizing, and you said the 1st of June.
Right.
Right around the 1st of June.
Sure.
What type of fertilizer? 666, 888, 10,
No, actually there are citrus fertilizers, or citrus and fruit tree fertilizers. The numbers may be like a 688. Excuse me, just got a little tickle. The numbers on that really don't matter as much as has micronutrients in it also. That's why I like something better than a 666, because those usually are just nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and the citrus has some of the other elements in there.
Okay, well, I still have a few tiny oranges that are falling off, but most of the big ones, like golf side and stuff, they're fine.
They're holding on, and they will. This year, it seems like they. I don't know why I have a tickle now. That even in the citrus groves, they were having an issue with some fruit drop.
Okay, another question.
Excuse me on this. I have a tickle here that won't go away.
Okay, is there another thing I was going to ask about too? Should I spray them with any kind of herbicide or anything?
No, not usually. Yeah, you don't want to spray the tree with a herbicide for an insecticide or anything. Only if you're really seeing a problem. If the trees look basically healthy, I don't spray them. On the fruit drop, that in the citrus industry, they were having a problem with that this year also. So it could be that just the way the winter sort of went prolonged there in March, that it affected those blooms and affected those first initial fruit. Your tree should have held fruit now, and I guess yours has, now that it's got about some golf ball sized ones. I would just make sure it gets fertilized now and again in September. It's not going to need extra irrigation right now. It may in the wintertime, but this time of year with all the rain we're getting, they usually get enough irrigation.
Okay, so I basically then don't need to do anything. This is about an 18-foot tree, so it's well established.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and it probably has no grass growing underneath it. And if it does, just take a hoe or something, even the weed whacker, just cut it off. They don't like to be mulched. They don't like their feet to stay wet, and they do like to be fed regularly that spring, summer, and fall.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome. And just, I'm sure if he's listening or anybody else, this is the time to feed the citrus trees and anything else, pretty much anything in your landscape. February, June, and September is a good way of feeding. Most of your fertilizers are going to last about 3 months at a time. We don't feed after September because we don't want to encourage new growth on plants that can be damaged in the winter months. We don't have a real heavy dormancy, so our plants don't go to sleep real good anyhow, and if you fertilize them later than September, you bring that up into that chance of actually burning the new growth and killing or damaging your plants, in that January to March cold season that we have. That's very up and down, so it's not a true dormancy, and that's why we have issues with some plants that folks up north always love to have, we can't grow here because they don't have that good winter dormancy, or even if they do grow here, they may not bloom as well here as they would even just 400 or 500 miles north, that they can have enough of a dormancy. But the fertilization on most plants, a basic fertilizer, or your vegetable gardens, is 666. That's usually okay. I still like to find something with minors, with some of the minor elements to go in them. Citrus, I use a citrus fertilizer. Azaleas, I like an azalea camellia fertilizer, and again, the azalea camellias. If you have hydrangeas and you like them being blue, the azalea camellia fertilizer is good for those too. That'll help them to stay blue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you go with lime, they'll turn pink on the basic hydrangeas.
Really?
Some of them are bred to stay more pink.
It's got a lot to do with what they eat, huh?
It's the soil pH on that one. But most of your plants, there's a
so this sample bag of black cow you have, it says 0.5, 0.5, 0.5.
It's a non-burning fertilizer. It's a basic nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but not a whole lot of any of them. But what it does have is the ability to help build the soil. It does feed microorganisms that in turn help to convert the natural energies, the natural fertilizers, into food that the plant can take up. That's why we put in the compost. It becomes a plant a soil enrichment. It does help to hold moisture in, which our plants need, not necessarily this time of year, but even this time of year we will get those fluctuations where we may go a week or two with rain every single day, 2 and 3 times a day sometimes, to where then we'll have another couple-week period where we get no rain. It'll happen, and it's kind of going, gosh, we could sure use another bout of rain. And then we'll get another 4 days where it doesn't stop, and it's kind of going, would it stop again? It needs to soak in. So the ability for the soil to hold some moisture benefits in the long run over the time when we do have those dry periods.
Yeah, and we had a nice wet tropical storm that did no harm to us.
Yeah, not much. Had a few little branches here and there come down, but those were some weak branches, and gives you a chance to see where some puddling, and of course then the rain lilies all popped up in different locations. They seem to come up, when hence the name rain lily. We get a good rain event, and they start
Is that the
to
one
grow.
that's like the size of a quarter, and it just shows up in your grass?
It shows up a little bigger than a quarter. I'd say like $50 or so. They pop up. They stand up vertically.
Oh, I guess I'm thinking
pretty little pinky white flowers. They're real pretty, but the little rain lilies that come up, and they're fun on the side, the sides of the roads and things like that, where you find them.
Are we allowed to pick those flowers on the side of the road? What's the law?
You're not supposed to. No, you're not supposed to. I mean, they don't even have them mow them. It's the wildflowers that they're planting, and it makes the landscape when you're driving down the road very pretty, and it also keeps them from having to mow as often. And,
really?
Because you need those to go to seed so that they'll come back next year. So they don't mow them, and they're not using herbicides, which again is a benefit. And so it's lower maintenance, nicer to look at, holds the soil in place, and also, and I always hate the thought of this, the reason a lot of times some of that grass is kept really high and the shape and things like that of the sides of the roads and the medians is that should someone lose control of their vehicle, it's meant to slow them down.
Really?
To keep them from going into the next lanes of traffic or to go too far out in, that when that grass is higher, it will slow the vehicle down, so...
By the way,
but don't run over the flowers.
It's a good photo op for the people with little children. I see them out a lot. They get their little children out in the flowers, and then they take pictures.
Take pictures, and it's always so pretty. And I always worry about you can't see the anthill, or the ticks or anything else. So be careful when you do that. Or snakes or anything else. Don't want to scare anybody. But
speaking of ticks, listen to this. On Sunday, I went to the Silver River State Park with Robin and Doug, and my son and his wife met us there. And they have these ceiling fans in the pavilions, and they were not turned on, and Doug asked if they could turn them on. Well, once they turned them on, we discovered ticks on us. So we have a theory that there were ticks on the fans. And then once they got turned on, well, all of a sudden we had ticks on us.
It could be that the temperature changed.
All of a sudden, like that?
Possibly, because ticks are on the grasses.
They wouldn't be up in the fans?
No.
Really?
There's nothing for them to eat
up
there.
So what a strange coincidence then, because as soon as the fans were turned on, all of a sudden we found ticks.
Well, you may not have seen it. It may have still been on your shoe.
Yeah.
You stopped. A few minutes later, they managed.
So they wouldn't climb up on that fan, huh?
Probably not. No, they're usually in the taller grasses, on shrubs and things. And when you walk past them or walk through it, it's picked up on your clothing.
They were big too, by the way.
Then,
bigger than I've usually. Usually the ticks are the size of a pinhead. These were more the size of a pencil eraser.
Oh wow!
Not the thickness of it, but the width of it.
Right.
All right, you ready? I have a question.
All right.
First of all, I have a prize. The prize is a $20 gift certificate to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery.
Right.
And I know that's a plant show, but I've got a fish question because we were talking about fish.
We did talk about fish.
All right. On the Atlantic seaboard, where we live close to, there is a fish, a very common fish. It's got a scientific name, so you have to tell me the common name. Okay. The scientific name is Prionotus evolans. Prionotus evolans. It's a bizarre-looking fish. It can be found all up and down the Atlantic seaboard. And I'll tell you, it's a two-word name. It's a striped blank. Striped blank. It's the common name for the Prionotus evolans. E-V-O-L-A-N-S.
Somebody's going to Google it. Yeah, see how fast anybody can Google.
It's worth $20. You might as well Google it. Prionotus, Prionotus evolans.
Yeah, I don't know my fish's scientific name.
Who would know this? This is one of those out-of-the-blue questions, right?
Well, those true fishermen would know, or those who are fast on a Google.
It's a striped blank, and I'll give you another hint. In the morning, I always blank when I come here. After Robin gets here. In the morning, after Robin gets here, I blank. So it's a stripe.
I'm not going to say it's a striped run to the restroom because somebody else is here.
A striped run to the restroom. In the morning, when Robin gets here.
Get a cup of coffee.
It's a striped blank. In the morning, when Robin gets here, I blank.
Run to the restroom.
Actually, I don't. But I do this.
Get a cup of coffee.
A striped get a cup of coffee. All right, I think I'll have to tell you.
We may have to, yeah.
Yeah, we got to start the song up. Anybody want to take a crack at this one? All right, $20 is up for grabs if you're the first one to call in after I tell you the answer. It's a striped sea robin.
Oh,
see, in the morning when Robin gets here, I see robin.
There you go. Yes, you do. See, I was thinking sea bass, but it's but that's actually a 3-word.
That would have been close.
Oh, what?
Well, sea robin is one word. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Striped sea robin. S-E-A.
Right. So we already told you the answer.
Good morning. You got the prize. Who's this?
This is Grady.
Hey, Grady, you got $20 for Bob Wines.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll be waiting for you. All right.
Too much fun.
I think I fell short on a good question.
That one was kind of
lame. All right.
Kind of weird.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Always a great show. We'll take a little break and be right back.
All right now, I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. New revelations are being promised by the British journalist who interviewed the leaker who exposed what he called a massive government surveillance machine. He says Edward Snowden gave him more documents, and he'll reveal them in the near future. Richmond International Airport was shut down for hours this morning while security officials investigated what turned out to be a phony telephone bomb threat. Departing flights were delayed. Fighter jets were scrambled to escort a Southwest flight from Los Angeles to Texas after it was diverted to Phoenix for an emergency landing because of another phoned-in bomb threat. The passengers were safely evacuated. The search for the caller continues. A China Air flight was forced to make an emergency landing after a mid-air scare. Something hit the 757's nose over China, leaving a huge dent in it. Investigators say it was not a bird strike. It could be a long, slow jury selection process at the George Zimmerman murder trial in Sanford, Florida. So far, attorneys have questioned only 4 of the 500 potential panelists. Day 2 begins today. This is ABC News.
Hi, Tom Bodette. Most people have pretty ambitious bucket lists, like skiing every mountain in America, or seeing a game at every ballpark, or eating at all the famous barbecue joints. It can get expensive and messy. But Motel 6's great low rates mean you save more for what you travel for. So at least your stay will be a drop in the bucket. Get it? It's a bucket list. Good stuff. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Oh yeah, you love coffee. Everybody does. But not everybody treats their coffee the way it deserves to be treated. I mean, some people pour themselves a hot, steamy cup and then put just anything in there. Skip milk? 1%? No. If you really love your coffee, you'd stir in rich, creamy Coffee Mate. Coffee's perfect mate, baby, is what it's been yearning for all morning long.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
I'm heading down to Daytona, where it all begins.
Hear that? You could be going down to Daytona for the hottest races this summer.
Where the track is really fast.
The Firecracker 250 on Friday, July 5th, and the Coke Zero 400 Saturday, July 6th. And all you have to do is register for your chance to win at the following location. Baseline Auto Sales, 2501 Southeast 58th Avenue on Baseline Road. Brick City Health and Fitness in the Pine Plaza on South Pine. And at the home games for the Ocala Stampede played at Trinity Catholic. Each sponsor will have 2 tickets for each race, and the drawings will be held Friday, June 28th. There's no obligation to enter, so you don't need to be present to win. And enter as often as you'd like. You're always a winner with WOCA The Source, and you could be. As you're driving down the road, you may love your car, you may hate it. But the fact remains that you've got to keep it running to get back and forth to where you need to go. WOCA The Source and Sunrise Automotive are here to help with that. For a limited time, if you mention WOCA, you will receive $10 off an oil change at Sunrise Automotive. That's right, not 10%, $10 off any oil change at Sunrise Automotive. Sunrise Automotive is an ASE certified automotive repair center, so they know how to take care of your car. Located at 1800 Northwest 10th Street. All you have to do is call to schedule your oil change, 690-1993. Mention that you heard this ad on WOCA and get $10 off an oil change. It's just that easy. So now you have 10 more reasons to head down to Sunrise Automotive, 1800 Northwest 10th Street, Ocala. And don't forget to listen to Matt every Monday morning at 10 a.m. for auto repair with personal care. Right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source. Your source for $10 off an oil change.
Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. 4 potential jurors spent yesterday afternoon being questioned as the trial of George Zimmerman got underway near Orlando. Although no jurors had been chosen by the day's end, court started yesterday with 100 prospective jurors being asked to fill out a questionnaire. Copies were made for the judge and lawyers for both sides, and they went through them. Of those 100, 21 were selected to be questioned today, 13 women and 8 men. Zimmerman's attorneys will have to convince jurors that he shot and killed unarmed 17-year-old Trayvon Martin last year because he feared for his life. Zimmerman is not disputing that he shot the teen during a fight in a gated community. The defense has hired Texas attorney Robert Hirshhorn, a nationally recognized expert in the field of jury selection. Hirshhorn helped well-known defense attorney Roy Black win an acquittal in the sexual assault trial of William Kennedy Smith in 1991. The Star Banner is reporting that the Marion County School Board is expected to hear a proposal from board member Angie Boynton to change the school naming policy. Currently, according to the report, in order to name a school after a notable person, that person would have to have been deceased for at least 10 years. Boynton's proposal would allow a school to be named for a living person, although not until 5 years after the service, contribution, or death of the individual. The Star Banner says that a suggestion was presented to rename Legacy Elementary School in honor of former school superintendent Robert Mack Dunwoody, credited with the successful integration of white students with black students during the 1960s. Dunwoody is currently 80 years old. It is not clear if the board would vote for the name change, however, and so a Plan B has been suggested to name the district's downtown headquarters at 512 Southeast 3rd Street in Mr. Dunwoody's honor. After school let out for the summer, an assistant principal at Royal Palm Beach Community High School in Palm Beach County went out to get a prostitute, according to a report from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Unfortunately for Tracy Wayne Sheely, the hooker he is accused of soliciting for $20 turned out to be an undercover female Sheriff's Office deputy. Sheely, who is 48 years old, worked his last day of the school year on Friday before the start of the summer vacation. According to a Sheriff's Office probable cause affidavit, the veteran educator was nabbed in a pre-planned operation to combat street-level prostitution in the city of Lake Worth. The sting involved female deputies posing as prostitutes. Sheely approached one such deputy in the 1400 block of North Dixie Highway at about 9 p.m. The affidavit said he was arrested after offering to pay her $20 for oral sex, according to the report. After he playfully swatted his lawyer on the butt to thank him for a job well done, former NFL star Chad Johnson was slapped with a 30-day jail term by a Broward County judge who did not think he was taking his court appearance seriously enough. Johnson, who is 35 years old, was seconds away from walking out of the Broward County courthouse yesterday after working out a plea deal for probation violation in a 2012 domestic violence case. But when Broward County Judge Kathleen McHugh complimented his lawyer, Johnson saluted the attorney as though he were a teammate after a good play, with a pat on the behind. McHugh sentenced Johnson to 30 days in the Broward County Jail and extended his probation from September 21st to December 21st. The judge also ordered Johnson to perform 25 hours of community service and to undergo 2 counseling sessions per week. A temporary state rule declaring open season on lionfish may become permanent as a measure to keep the invasive species from becoming permanent Florida residents. Ladd Akins, Special Projects Director at the Reef Environmental Education Foundation in Key Largo and one of the state's most experienced lionfish catchers, applauded the decision. When the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission meets today through Thursday in Lakeland, the state's fishery managers are expected to take a final vote on eliminating the requirement for a recreational fishing license when targeting the non-native invasive lionfish with certain dive gear and not imposing recreational or commercial limits on harvesting. An executive order allowing divers and snorkelers to use catch bags, hand nets, and spears, all without a fishing license to catch or kill lionfish, was issued last August for a 1-year trial, and approval during today's consent agenda would make the rule permanent. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
Hi, this is Joe, and I'm your host for the new show, Damage Control. every Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m. Brought to you by Damage Control Services. We're going to be discussing floods, fires, storm and tree damage, sinkholes, mold, and many other disasters that you need to know about, how to prevent and prepare for them, as well as what to do when it happens and what to expect after it happens. This is Damage Control, Tuesdays at 10:30, right here on The Source.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
All right, thank you. 10 minutes after 10 o'clock, we were waiting for our guest who has not shown up, but I would like to promote the cause that he was coming in to promote. Our guest, who was scheduled to be here, is not on the phone, nor is he in the studio. His name is Hector Picard. He is doing something pretty fabulous and fascinating. He's a double-arm amputee, no arms. He's also a triathlete and a bicyclist and a motivational guy, a motivational speaker. He is riding a bicycle 3,200 miles without arms. How? I don't know, but this is what he's doing. He started June 8th, which was just like 3 days ago, right? Mm-hmm. He expects to complete his 3,200-mile ride on July 13th. Mike, I wouldn't even be out of the state by then. He's doing this to raise money for a little baby that was born just over a year ago, named baby Jameson is what we're calling the baby. I don't know if that's the baby's real name. Yeah, baby Jameson Davis.
Yes.
Born to Jimmy and Brooke Davis of Spokane, Washington. All right, well, let me tell you about this, because even though our guest hasn't shown up, I want to make sure that his cause is promoted a little bit so that we can maybe help out a little bit. The baby, baby Jameson Davis, was born without hands or forearms. Okay, the baby was born without hands and forearms. I don't really know Hector's story, but anyway, so the ride is to raise money to buy some prosthetics for the baby. Wow. This is touching in so many different ways. Hector had written to us and asked us if we would help promote his cause, and so definitely we will. And here's his story. In 1992, Hector was involved in an electrical accident while working in South Florida. As a result of the accident, he had his entire right arm amputated and half of his left arm, as well as his second and third degree burns over a large portion of his body. Wow. He said he has not let those physical obstacles stop him from reaching his goals. Then he goes on to write to us about... That's all he wrote about himself. That's it right there. On April 12th, 2012, Jameson Davis was born to Jimmy and Brooke Davis. Jameson Davis was born to Brooke and Jimmy Davis of Spokane, Washington. Jameson was born with no hands or forearms, but had a wonderful smile and a zest for life due to the high cost of prosthetics, and the Davises struggled to provide Jameson with the latest technology to afford him the same opportunities every able-bodied child deserves. In an effort to raise funds for the baby, our guest who is not here, Hector Picard, is riding his bicycle from Miami to Spokane.
That is amazing. Short amount of time.
He's covering 90 miles a day. Maybe that's why he's not here. Maybe he didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, if you want to help out, there is a way to help out. There's a website for Hector. It's called Don'tStopLiving.org. Don'tStopLiving.org. That's all I know to tell you. I was hoping that we would have Hector in the studio so he could kind of elaborate more and let us know more, but obviously he's busy riding a bicycle.
That's right.
Across the country. Wow.
That's right.
You know, I would be right now, if I had to drive a car to Spokane, I'd be thinking, oh man, that's so far. And this guy's taking a bicycle.
Yeah, isn't that something?
90 miles a day.
We drove to Bellevue and
we rode our bicycles. Yeah,
from Bellevue to here.
Now, see, this is the thing, you know. I mean, he's got to deal with traffic, too. It's not like there's a bicycle path all the way from here to there.
Oh, no. No, he's got to do that.
So that's another part of his challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to picture, how does he operate the bicycle without hands?
Maybe he has one of those low down to the ground bicycles, and that you lean back in, and then you operate it.
Yeah.
He operates it that way.
Maybe the website shows a picture. Don'tStopLiving.org. Let me go to the website.
Oh, okay. But what he's doing is absolutely phenomenal. He's giving of his time, and he had to overcome a lot to have this positive attitude. He could have gone the other way. His personality could have turned, and he couldn't have helped anybody, and maybe done, really bad, like commit suicide. But he chose to live.
He's a good-looking guy, Robin. He's a good-looking young man. He is riding a regular bicycle. He is not on the reclining type. It looks like he's actually steering with his left arm, which is, he's got more of a left arm than his right arm. Right arm is totally gone.
Oh, my gosh.
Holy
wow.
mackerel. Holy mackerel.
Gosh, isn't that something? I know when we spoke to him on the phone to set up the interview, he just was very excited about being able to give to baby Jameson and to really make people aware that there are people with disabilities and that they overcome those disabilities, and they should be admired for that.
Well, if he could do this, you can do anything.
Oh, certainly.
If he can do this without arms, riding a bicycle all the way from South Florida to Spokane, Washington, and then he's got a link on his site for baby Jameson.
Yeah, that is so amazing.
Here's his schedule. What's today's date? The 11th? June 11th.
He was in Ocala yesterday, the 10th.
Oh, that's what it says.
Yeah, he was in Ocala yesterday, and he chose to come in today instead of coming in yesterday before his event at the church last night. And he was going to come in today before he began his the other part of his trek. So,
well, anyway, we'll say a prayer for him, say a prayer for his mission, and if you can help out, go to his website, Don'tStopLiving.org. He's trying to raise money to pay for some prosthetic hands and arms for a little baby named Jameson, born just over a year ago. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. What a role model for everyone.
Well, we wanted to help him out.
Definitely. We'll go to the site.
There's another way for you to help out, and as long as I have a moment here, let me mention this. There's a program called Operation Gratitude that Ford of Ocala is doing. This is an opportunity for you to go test drive a Ford. And it sounds like they're trying to sell you a car, and maybe they are.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that, right? But when you test drive a Ford, whether you buy the car or not, you will be supporting the troops. Listen to what they're doing. Operation Gratitude is sending care packages to the U.S. military, and it starts Thursday, June 13th, and it runs through Sunday, June 16th. And all you have to do is test drive a car. That's it. You test drive a car. Go to Ford of Ocala and tell them that you heard about it on WOCA. That would help us, because then they'll know that their advertising dollars are working. But just as important is this. They will, just because you test drove a car, I guess they've got some way of doing this, they will be sending a care package that contains up to 50 assorted items, including food, hygiene products, as well as handmade items for our service members. Each package is valued at around $100, and they will send them to the troops. So Operation Gratitude is what it's called. Our job, all we have to do is go test drive a car.
That's pretty awesome.
See, I've been holding off on buying a car.
Well, I need one.
You do need one.
Yeah, I need one. I've been using your kind services for a long time.
You had a Ford Taurus for a while.
I did. And my Ford Taurus went to like 140,000 miles.
It was a good car for you.
140,000 miles.
So go test drive a car, and then you'll support the troops, and who knows, maybe they'll convince you to buy one.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Gosh.
Go to Ford of Ocala, and Ford of Ocala and Lincoln of Ocala, I guess is the actual name right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
All it takes is a test drive. Let Ford do the rest, it says here. Operation Gratitude. Okay, so two great groups doing some great things out there for the troops and also for this little baby. If you can help out Hector, go to his website, which is Don'tStopLiving.org.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can want to help out the troops, just go, not online, but in person. Go to, make sure you're a driver. You can't go without a driver's license. Go test drive a Ford and support the troops. I'm picturing some people listening right now going, Hey, Helen, I haven't driven a car in 14 years.
Well, there was that one guy on the news that you reported on like a week and a half ago, went for a test drive from a car dealership in Bellevue and went to work.
And
stuff
what
with
the heck is
test
with that?
drive car.
What's the matter with that guy?
I guess it's closer to walk to the dealership and just borrow a car for a little bit.
Can you imagine it? Anyway, go test drive a car at Ford and help out the troops, and maybe buy a car in the process, and go to don'tstopliving.org and help out with this little baby and this young man doing a marvelous thing. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good for him. He's on the back line? Oh, Hector's on the phone? Okay. Oh, good.
Okay, excellent.
Good. I wonder if is he listening to us?
Excellent.
You don't know? Okay. All right, well, Hector's calling in. All right, well, what we'll do is we'll take a little break. We'll get him set up. We'll be able to talk to him for about 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's pretty awesome. And,
yeah.
A little disappointed he didn't come in, but still, good thing he's doing what he's doing. There's just nothing else we can say. We'll be right back.
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
All right, 21 minutes after 10 o'clock, we've got 9 minutes to talk to Hector Picard. Hector is on the phone. Hector, I don't know if you were listening. We were just bragging about you. We were reading everything we had on you, and my goodness, we are impressed with you. Good morning, Hector.
Good morning, Larry.
Where are you?
Right now, I left the Florida State Fire College.
Oh, okay.
And I'm 15 miles north of there in Ocala.
What's your goal today?
The goal is to reach Lake City in one piece and as fast as possible.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, gosh.
Yeah, we just read everything we had on you, Hector, and my goodness, every listener is praying for you right now for your safety on this bicycle trip, and my goodness, what a great inspiration you are. The little baby. What is your connection with the baby? Are you related to the baby?
No, actually, one of my team members with the I Will Foundation went to school with his father. And she turned me on to the mother's website, Davis Day to Day, and it was heart-wrenching to see the stories about their difficulties with the prosthetics and their fears of not knowing what their son's future would be like.
Yeah, my goodness. Now, in your story, you lost your arms, your part of your arm, and all of one arm, right?
I lost my entire right arm and half my left.
My goodness. And do you use prosthetics? I went to your website and I didn't see you using any, but do you use them?
Yeah, I use them. They're a very important part of my life for business, for everyday necessities. I don't use it on the bike, so a lot of the pictures you're going to see is me competing.
Right.
I don't use them on the bike because, on top of that, they're $35,000 each. To have them, break, and when I need them to eat or to dress myself, would be a problem.
Oh my goodness! Who
knew?
And as a baby grows up, I'm guessing they have to be changed all the time as they start to grow, right?
Correct, and that's what leads to such a major expense for this family.
Now, how do you help the family emotionally? Because that had to have been something that you dealt with firsthand, and you could have easily have gone the other way and not made a difference in your life and baby Jameson's and others.
Well, after they see me reach Spokane and know of all the things I'm going to encounter, they're going to know that anything is possible.
Okay. Are you riding only during daylight hours, I hope?
Yes. Today I got a late start because I had the honor of speaking to the students at Fire College.
Okay.
And so I got a late start, but I did get some great support from the Ocala Tri Club and a friend of mine that's been riding with me for the last 4 days, and my driver, of course, Gail.
Okay. Is there a way? I'm trying to give all of the other media agencies a way to get a hold of you. Is there a way on your website, like like we're talking to you? I'm guessing the newspaper probably was there at your event this morning. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
Thank goodness.
Through the website they can contact me if they want to do an interview. There's one of two ways. Through my wife's phone number or my driver's phone number. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my phone number or my phone in the vehicle, and then they can reach me that way.
Okay.
It's very difficult to answer the phone while riding.
Are you riding right now? Are you actually riding?
No, I stopped. I have, on top of everything, I'm losing my eyesight because I'm over 40, and then my hearing is not what it used to be, so I have to stop.
Oh, my goodness.
What other events do you compete in? Because your bio says you're a triathlete.
Yes, I am I'm the world's first double-arm amputee Ironman. I'm a 3-time Ironman. Competed in over 75 triathlons across the country, and yeah, I mean, I'm hooked. I'm hooked on the sport, and I love meeting people out there, and then hopefully inspiring and motivating some.
Well, you've got our support, our prayers. We will mention don'tstopliving.org over and over. Don'tstopliving.org. Just say don't stop living. That's I love that message, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah. When I said at the day of the accident, I decided to don't stop living.
Yeah, well, good for you.
That is one of the most important messages you could give, especially at the fire college this morning, because our law enforcement officers, the firefighters, they put their lives in danger every day, and you are such a great role model for them.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we were looking forward to meeting you, but don't feel bad about not coming in. What you're doing is more important than sitting here with a couple of radio geeks. So Hector.
Hey, I enjoy the experience. Unfortunately, I did get a late start, and I want to get there.
Yeah, I think. Did we lose you? No. Did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, we understand, and our mission really is to help get the word out about people who are doing great things for other people, and you are one of them. So, thank you for doing what you're doing and for taking some time out of your morning to do this. Please be careful out there. I don't know how you do it with no arms, but I would have a hard time just driving a car. So to Spokane. So, is it Spokane or Spokane? How do you say it?
You know what? I started saying Spokane, and then people were saying Spokane, so I turned up to Spokane now.
Oh, yeah. You're like me. Everybody always corrects the way I say everything.
Yeah.
I say Caribbean. They say, come on, it's Caribbean. What's the matter with you? All right, Hector. Well, we're with you in spirit, and good luck, and good for you what you're doing.
Thank you to you both, and thank you, Ocala, for receiving me, and keeping me safe on the road there.
What's next stop is Lake City. Lake City. I'm looking at your schedule right here. Lake City. And tomorrow you pass the state line, right?
Correct. Tipton, Georgia will be my first stop in Georgia.
Wow.
Nice.
And you started 3 days ago in Miami. See, I can't imagine taking a bicycle from Miami to Ocala. Holy cow. Again, thank you so much, Hector.
Thank you, guys, and have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
Hi, I'm Bianca. I'm Debbie. And I'm Lupe. And we would like to invite you to come visit our Merle Norman salon.
Come check out our Merle Norman's award-winning makeup.
Come experience our hair color, highlights, lowlights, perms, and organic keratin treatments. Oh yes, I just had one done on my hair, and they are amazing. That's because it eliminates frizz, reducing the amount of products and time spent on your hair. Normally, if I skip styling products, my hair's a mess. But after this treatment, my hair's awesome.
Merle Norman Studio is a full-service salon. We offer everything from massages to eyelash extensions. And don't forget to ask about our free makeovers.
We would love to meet you. So call us today at 352